Hi, okay, so welcome to the very first session of the grade 4 course. This is the set 1 course, which means you're doing predominantly number and statistics throughout. This particular session is on some of the language that we see in the exam. And you could argue that this isn't a grade 4 topic in itself. And I wouldn't disagree. It's here for two reasons. One, because it's going to help us build towards something that is at a higher level. And the other reason is because I see a lot of grade 4 students whose ability is actually quite good. They're strong students, but they are missing 1 markers here and there because they haven't got this language absolutely secure. So it's a really important area for keeping that grade level and the number of marks high. So what I would recommend that we do is start off by pausing so that you've got some time to write all this down, get those words down with their definition so that you can start committing them to memory. And then we're just going to start going straight into using them. All right, so off you go. Press play when you're ready. Okay. So I'm not going to read through them all. I think there's no point. You've got the list now because I'm gonna make that disappear. I want you to try as much as possible to not look at the list, obviously. But if I'm asking for something in particular and you're not 100% certain, go back, look at that definition. If it doesn't help you, then when you see the example, add some extra detail into that definition. You need notes that make sense to you. And my notes, my sentences aren't going to be the best. Your notes are going to be the best. Okay. Right. They're gone. And that is our first set of numbers. Now, this is a classic question. Sometimes they're in a cloud. I've done some in a cloud. Sometimes they're just a list. And they are going to say from the list, write down A, and then they're going to put that language in. It's really important that you choose something from the list. So I see people doing fabulous, like I could say, write a multiple of 10. Well, from the list, the answer is 10. But I see people writing 20 and 30 and 40, which are multiples of 10, but they're not in the list. So make sure that you are always focused in on that list, okay? So the first one we're going to look for is a prime number, okay? So if I was to ask you for a prime number from that list, what number would you choose? And the answer to that is 3. All the other numbers appear in other times tables. So 3, I'm going to show you this so that you've got a really good explanation as to how to locate a prime number. If I've got the number 3 and look at its factors, factors are the numbers that multiply to make a number. 1 and 3 multiply to make 3, but nothing else does. Whereas if I look at the number 9 in the list, 1 and 9 make it. And then 3, don't know why I'm writing 2, and then 3 times 3 makes it. If I look at the number 10, I've got my 1 and 10, but then I've got my 2 and my 5. So the minute I go over 2 factors, the minute I go over the factors 1 and itself, it is no longer prime. So this is the only one that doesn't appear in any other, and that is why. Okay. All right. The next thing that I want you to write down is a square number. Out of that list, which number is the square number? Okay. Hopefully you had a go. The answer to that is 9. And I actually really like the factor bugs. That's what I call them because they look like little bodies with legs sticking out. The factor bugs can help you identify a square number as well. So if you've only got 2 arms or 2 legs, I call those arms. I'm like, hands up, I'm prime. If you've only got 2 arms, you are a prime number. If you've got 3, because this 3 here was 3 times 3, I'm not going to write the 3 twice. And then that creates this kind of oddness. Okay. So it'll happen when I do any square number because I won't repeat the second. So then I have this odd number rather than beautiful pairs. And that's a sign of a square number. So that's quite a useful thing, I think, to know if you are struggling with that. The other way, obviously, and probably easier way to find a square number from a list is to just say, okay, I know square number means multiply by itself. So I'm going to do 1 times 1, which is 1. That's not there. 2 times 2 is 4. That's not there. 3 times 3 is 9. It's there. That's the one. And I would just keep going like that until I found it. If I couldn't see it from the list, I would do that to try and find it. Okay. Right, let's clean this up a little bit. The next one I'm going to ask you to try and work out is the cube number. Which number there is the cube number? And hit pause if you need to take a bit of time to work it out, and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, now with the square number, I suggested that you searched for it by just working it out until you found the number. And I would do exactly that for my cube numbers. There are only a handful that they're going to include in lists. It's usually pretty quick to find them. So you could start off with your 1 times 1 times 1, and then you could do your 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, and then 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 is in the list. So I can stop and I have got that mark. Okay. All right. The last one is I would like you to find the product of 3 and 7. Which number is the product of 3 and 7? Okay. Product means times. So 3 times 7 is equal to 21. If you did 3 plus 7 is 10 and wrote 10, then you did the sum of 3 and 7. And it's very likely that they would do what I've done. They would give the both options because they really want to test if you understand what that means, and it's not a lucky guess. Okay. All right. That was our first go. Let's clean that up and we'll do another one or another question. So the next question I'm going to ask you to do is to write all the factors of 24. All right, so hit pause and press play when you're ready to see if you've got that right. Okay, so 24 goes in the middle, always 1 and the 1 in the middle first, and then go round in order, okay? So I would say, right, is 24 in the 2 times table? Yes, 2 and 12. And literally create this bug so it's got legs either side, all right? So it's not spinning round in circles. Is 3 in 24? Yes, 3 times 8. Is 4? Yep. 4 times 6. Is 5? No. Is 6? Yes. And 6 is already written down. And when I get to that point where I'm almost repeating myself, I stop because it means I found them all. So that means I have found them all. On an exam, you would then go to that dotted line and you would just write them all down really clearly. So you've got your workings out and you've got your answer confidently on that dotted line. So finding the factors are always about finding those. I do them always in pairs because it's just easier. Okay, next question is work out the cube of 4. Hit pause and press play when you've got that answer. Okay, so sometimes they will try and write a sentence that makes it harder to see what to do. If I had said, work out 4 cubed, that would be more familiar. They both mean the exact same thing. And that's something that we need to get used to and not be put off by. So 4 cubed means 4 times 4 times 4. Okay. Now 4 times 4 is 16. And then we've got to do 16 times 4. Now you can double it and double it again for the 4 times table. So 32, 64. Or you can go to whatever preferred method that you have for finding that. Okay, here's our next question. So I'm going to say that 2 numbers have a difference of 5 and a product of 24. So I've got 2 numbers, they have a difference of 5 and a product of 24. And from that, you should be able to work out what those 2 numbers are. So that's what I want you to do. Hit pause and press play when you think you've got it. Okay, so difference means take away. So when I take away the 2 numbers, I should be left with 5. Product means times. So those 2 numbers are going to multiply to make 24. And this is the bit that's really going to help me the most to get started on this. What I'm actually going to do is take the factors of 24, because they multiply to make it. So I've got 1 and 24. Well, that is not going to take away and give me 5. I could work them all out, or I could start trying to narrow it down. So I could say, right, 3 times 8 is 24. I've actually gone straight to it by the looks of things, because if I do 8 take 3, I get my 5. And I already know that 3 times 8 equals 24 because I'm using the factors to help me. Okay, so if you worked it out to be 3 and 8 and you didn't do it my way, that's absolutely fine. If you only write 3 and 8 on that dotted answer line, you probably won't get both marks. These are 2-mark questions if they come up. They need to see some working out, and that would be listing times tables, looking at factors, things like that. So whatever you do in your head to think this through, you must make sure you've got down on paper. Okay. All right, let's do another one. We're going to do a list one again this time. So you've got the numbers 8, 21, 11, 6, and 25. Okay. First question is going to be, which 3 numbers sum to give 25? Okay. The answer to that one then. This is just trial and error. It's not too tricky because 25 is quite small. We're going to check with those small numbers first of all. So 8 plus 11 plus 6. 8 and 11 is 19 plus the 6 is 25. So it is 8, 11 and 6. They add to give 25, but they're going to use that word sum. Okay. Next question is going to be, write the prime number. Okay, prime number is 11. All the other numbers are in other times table. 21 is in the 3s and the 7s, 25 is in the 5s, etc. Okay, I want you to write down a number that is a factor of 42. Okay, so factors are the numbers that multiply to make the given number. So factors of 42 are 1 in 42, 2 in 21, etc. And we can see from that it's 21. Okay. And I want you to work out or choose the cube number. Hopefully you're remembering to pause and hit play. And I'm not sort of saying the answer too quickly for you. If you just hit that pause every single time, and then when you're ready, you hit play and on it goes, okay? So the cube number, it means multiply the number by itself 3 times. So let's test. 1 times 1 times 1 is not there. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, is there. The cube number is 8. Okay, there's no real shortcut to finding that cube number. It is the best approach. All right, we're not trying to remember all our cube numbers. We've got enough to remember. We just want to remember how to find them if we need to. All right, our next question, let's have work out 6 squared. And the answer to that is 6 times 6, which is 36. It's amazing how many people will do 6 times 2. All right, so hopefully that is not you. If it is, then that is your target. I need to remember. Just remember, if I want you to do 6 times 2, if anybody wants you to do 6 times 2, they write 6 times 2. They don't go, oh, I'll try and hide it. That means something completely different. All right, last question before I leave you with some to work on. I want to, okay, we're going to write down 3 factors of 30 sum to make 50. What are the numbers? So what are those 3 numbers that will sum to make 50? Pause and hit play when you're ready. Okay, so my factors of 30 is job number 1. 2 and 15, 3 and 10. Is it in the 4s? Nope. Is it in the 5s? Yep, 5 and 6. And then it would be a case of just sort of trial and error, okay? I might look at the 30 to start off with because it's a big number, so it might get me there faster. So I'm going to say, right, I've got 30. I've got 20 left in order to make 50. So I can look at those numbers. Is there a way of making 20? Yes, there is. And there is my solution. Those are my 3 numbers. Happy days. Okay, so that is the first session done. We're going to be moving into prime factors, lowest common multiples, highest common factors in the next session. These are some questions to leave you with. Hopefully, we can make that a little bit bigger, can't we? There we go. I've got the answers following as well. So if this is your first course with me, then what I tend to do is always do some answers at the end of whatever we're doing, questions of whatever we're doing at the end, so you can continue to practice. And then I do the answers. If you want to mark as you go, I would never encourage you to just do everything and then mark. I would do the first question, mark, because then if I'm forgetting a detail, I might learn from the answer where I went wrong, and I can take that and apply it to the next questions that are coming up. So for me, I would recommend do a question, hit that play, let the answers roll up, mark, and then just rewind back to the bit that you need to have a go at the next question. And that will be throughout the entire course. All right. Okay, so well done for this and starting this course. I will see you in the next session. Okay, there's your answers.